So this was a sudden shift now, wasn't it? And why is it mirrored? Oh, fuck. Well, I'm not fixing that now, am I? Well, this is certainly a shift. I would go from reviewing Astro's Playroom on the PS5 to Bakugan Battle Brawlers for the Nintendo DS. And I'm only doing this because, one, feeling a little nostalgic, and two, got my hands on a little capture card for a Nintendo 2DS that I bought at a local game store. So, shoutouts to J2 Games for having this in stock. Awesome store. I should go there more often, honestly. There's a lot of stuff over there that I taken some interest in. But that's probably a video for another time. Anyway, the main subject for today is Bakugan. Back in the mid-2000s, Spin Master would release a game focused on these spherical, spring-loaded balls called Bakugan, along with an anime series that would follow it sometime later. The goal of the game was to win 3 gate cards before your opponent in order to achieve victory, making use of ability cards in the right Bakugan in your team of 3 to overpower your opponent's Bakugan in the numbers game with G-Power. To this day, I still don't know what the G and G-Power even means. Does anyone actually know what it means? Bakugan was pretty successful. I knew a lot of people in my school at the time that were really invested in it, and me being the dumb kid that I was at the time, won in on it and sure enough, started collecting them myself, playing the game with others at school, and years down the road getting my younger siblings into it. Not sure how it did compared to other games like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, but it was hard not to come across Bakugan at all. It was practically everywhere. Of course, as most probably already know by now, the OG Bakugan has long since died out, but back in 2018 it was announced that a reboot was on the way featuring a new animated series and a revamped version of the game, which I will just refer to as Gen 2. I personally invested in this reboot when it started making the rounds and had a lot of fun with it, but as time went on and eventually moving away from my parents and siblings, I didn't have a reason to keep investing in it, so I quietly dropped it. I still have my collection, most of it at least, but this version of the game would also die out, and very quickly at that too. Sometime at the beginning of this year, I want to say, I was curious about checking on the state of Gen 2, only to find that in 2021 the game was silently cancelled for reasons I'm not entirely sure on. The animated series went on for a bit longer, but I never really watched much of it. I think I caught the first few episodes when it came out, but this is also like 2018, 2019 me we are talking about, and I was all over TCGs, mostly Vanguard and Yu-Gi-Oh! So of course my attention was solely focused on the card game rather than the animated cartoon. Back to OG Bakugan, I'm going to be looking at the DS version for this review as it's the one I have the most memories with and also the only version of the game I actually own at the moment. The game saw release for the PS2 and PS3, Xbox 360, and Nintendo Wii as well, and while I did own the Wii version, it's no longer in my possession, and my Wii unfortunately isn't usable as the disc reader no longer works, and let's just say the sensor bar had a bit of an accident. So how did developers Now Production do in bringing the beloved toy game to the video game world? Well, let's talk about that plot first, shall we? Before the adventure begins, you can create your character, and looking back, this character creator is very underwhelming. I get it, it's 2009 when this game came out, but oh boy, where to begin? The lack of a female character option became immediately apparent to me as soon as I started a new save file for this review, and as someone who streams as a female Makote VTuber, all I can say is, man, this sucks. On top of that, color options for clothes are also limited too. You're stuck with a single color choice with the primary color being based on the attribute you selected prior. So if you aren't a fan of wearing the color green for example, but chose to go Ventus, I got some bad news for you. Well, limited character options aside, the attribute will only affect the attribute of your partner for this adventure, a Bakugan exclusive to this video game and to this day, only this video game, Leonidas. We'll talk about him in just a moment though. Our story begins with Haloji up to his antics creating the silent orb for his goal to use it and make all Bakugan bow to him as he says. Yeah, I should apologize for how this video is going to look by the way. Bakugan does use both screens for gameplay stuff, but also cutscenes on occasion. Not always the case, but in stuff like the start of a battle where we see our character, it can look weird, especially on capture software. So back to the story. Meanwhile, in the Doom dimension, a mysterious energy begins to gather, eventually forming this dragon that just flies out. Alright. We'll talk about him later. Meanwhile, in plot number 12, our character is getting picked on by local town dum-dums Shuji and Akira, with Dan stepping in to not only teach us how to play the game, but to help us send the two packing for the time being. See y'all in the tournament in about 5 minutes. Afterwards, a sudden blinding flash hits us and we're introduced to Leonidas, the strange new Bakugan who is the dragon we saw just a moment ago escape the Doom dimension. With an eagerness for battle, Leonidas decides to team up with us and acts as our partner for the adventure. We are then introduced to the world map where we can check out our rooms to see our collection, set up our deck for the next battle, check the leaderboards that doesn't really mean anything because this is a 2009 Nintendo DS title and online play for handhelds wasn't exactly common grounds just yet. You're also able to change the clothes of your character if you so choose as well as save your progress, which you probably won't need to worry about anyway. The game gives you plenty of save prompts throughout the adventure. It's rare I ever have to go to my room to save my game. We can also visit the Bakugan shop here, run by Alice, where we can purchase new Bakugan, gate cards, ability cards, as well as upgrade our Bakugan that have higher G power and these other stats I'll pretend I care about. Finally, we can visit the park to battle other brawlers, either to farm XP and money, or unlock more items in the shop. Sometimes you also need to go to the park to also progress the story between tournaments. Speaking of which, tournaments are pretty much the main thing to focus on throughout the adventure. A series of battles taking on just about every character you recognize from the anime, ending with you being the victor for the tournament each and every single time to jump ahead here. After completing the first tournament, we are approached by Runa and Marucho, talking about how Leonidas arrived much later than the other Bakugan and that his late appearance makes him raise an eyebrow that he might have some other motive for being here, on top of his more aggressive combat style. To which Leonidas sits there silently, likely thinking to himself, man, I picked the wrong time to wake up. Doesn't really matter right now because we gotta get ready for the next tournament, which is gonna be a tag team battle with Dan joining you as your teammate. And I can only imagine it will go just fine. Dan, just go for the double stand. Go for the double stand, my friend. You just got, we are one more gate card away from victory. Just go for the... Alright, I guess we can just go ahead and lose to the funny eyeball so we can lose the perfect bonus because of your lack of critical thinking. Oh really? You're gonna battle an Aqua's Bakugan on its home turf while you have the attribute disadvantage. How are you in the top 3? It went great, thanks for asking. Well, after winning the tag team tournament, somehow, I really need a coffee after that one. We head to the park to begin learning how Battle Royale battles work as that's next up on the list. Not long after that, however, we are suddenly sent a message by Dan telling us about an unknown brawler and his Bakugan partner essentially mopping the floor with him in battle. Of course, this begins to raise even more suspicion on Leonidas as Julie enters the scene accusing us of Dan's recent defeat. I don't care. There's a tournament to win, so let's go ahead and get that oh right, the Battle Royale tournament. I sure do remember this one giving me a lot of trouble back in my youth. Subterra Arena was always pretty nice to look at and everything, and the music also pretty cool, but fuck, this arena is massive. Before we can celebrate our victory, enter Marduk, the most obvious bad guy I've ever seen in Bakugan so far, not counting what's-his-face from New Vestroia, and Vladitar, Marduk's partner. These two are the ones responsible for the being Dragon Dan had earlier, with Vladitar having interest in Leonidas and wanting him to join his side, as he believes with their powers combined, they can rule all Bakugan. Leonidas of course refuses, and a battle begins. Upon achieving victory, Vladitar reveals to the surprise of everyone that Leonidas originates from within the Doom dimension just like he does. You remember that funny looking energy that eventually formed Leonidas back in the intro? That was a bunch of energy formed from the hate and despair of all Bakugan sent to the Doom dimension thanks to the work of Hal G, who, by the way, hasn't been seen since the initial intro, Masquerade as well, who also hasn't been seen at all so far, and also Mark is now involved in this scheme as well, to some capacity at least, and by that I mean Vladitar is in on it because Mark is just kind of there to be a dick more than anything else. What an asshole! On to the next turn where honestly not much happens here. We get to meet Shun finally at least, and well, as if I just mentioned him like not even a paragraph ago, there's Masquerade. He too also has an interest in Leonidas' power, and as we have the power of plot armor and stubbornness, we give him the boot and also send him packing. Just before we can get into the next turn, we finally get to spend a bit of time with catching up with the villains, where we not only see Hal G after 4 hours, but also Naga, who I honestly forgot was even in this game. In fact, that's probably not even a bad thing because this is the only scene as far as I'm aware that he actually shows up in. To derail the story summary for a moment, the only thing I wish I had to showcase was the White Naga Bakugan ball that you could get if you bought a special edition version of the DS game, and to my knowledge, only the DS version, if I'm remembering correctly. Sadly, my White Naga is nowhere to be seen. I think I lost it during the move to my grandparents some years back, but I have had my eyes on potentially buying one secondhand to add it back to my collection. I don't see it happening, but it's something to think about. It's definitely the collector in me that just wants shiny things. Hal G offers Vladitar the Silent Orb as a prize if he can defeat all the Battle Brawlers, to which Vladitar happily agrees to because he is a power-hungry whore. Now onto the Bakugan Master Cup tournament, where if we are to win, Dan will make us an official member of the Battle Brawlers Club. I haven't really talked much about the arenas in these tournaments, but goddamn do I love the Pirates arenas so much, especially the music. And on that subject, oh boy did I forget just how good this soundtrack is. It's got a solid blend of genres, but the Pirates arena goes all in on that headbanging heavy metal style composition that, if you guys know me well enough, I cannot stress how much I love it. And the sound quality is rather decent as well, given the hardware. Not my favorite video game soundtrack ever. That honor goes to another OST that's... Well, we can save that for later. Anyway, to continue talking about other elements for a bit, I think this tournament is where the difficulty starts to ramp up. I'll talk more in depth about it later, but this tournament was much harder compared to the rest of them so far. Like, the battle against Claws was actually really close. Like, I still went flawless in the tournament and had no game overs, but man, I sure had to work hard for that victory. And when Dan said he wasn't going to hold back, he wasn't fucking kidding. Just look at this final battle. Like, how did I even win that? The indicator says otherwise, game, but... Alright, fine, I'll accept this victory this time. Once again, before we can celebrate, thanks to card teleporting technology, Marek rears his Phantom of the Opera wannabe face again at us, along with Masquerade, who spent a total of 10 seconds saying what can be best summed up as, "We're gonna kick your ass," before buzzing off. Missed opportunity to give us the chance to do another tag team battle here, guys, come on. After the two villains leave, if you can even classify them such considering they just left after doing a whole lot of nothing, we then spend a bit of time giving some background on just who this Marek character is. Before, he was just another brawler who was obsessed with winning and would use dirty tactics to win. That was until his teammate at the time stabbed him in the back and sent all of his Bakugan to the Doom Dimension. Ever since then, he's despised Bakugan and wants to make everyone suffer by doing the one thing he despises. Typical villain trope I'm sure we've seen many times before and even after this game. But how exactly did he meet Vladitar? How did they become partners? Well, in a nutshell, they want the same thing, to rid the world of Bakugan and make them all bow to their will. Again, pretty straightforward motive. And us, being the main character and all, believe that there is more to it than that, and believe that deep down Mark does enjoy Bakugan, he's just too arrogant to admit it. The Battle Brawlers decide to put their differences about Leonidas aside and begin to trust in him, as he might just be the only Bakugan capable of taking Vladitar down, and hopefully for good this time. But to do that, we're going to have to win the Ultimate Battle Tournament. And sure enough, through every Battle Brawler, we make it to the Grand Finals against Mark and give him a classic ass kicking, which shouldn't be a surprise as we battle with a Chaos Bakugan team on a Chaos Arena against the darkest players, so you know what that means for them. No, seriously, look at me knock out his Vladitar at a 600 G power deficit. I'll enjoy this while I can, because, well, we'll get there shortly. Vladitar, needless to say, is a little pissed off about the ass kicking and takes the Silent Orb from Hal G by force and uses it to evolve into Battle Axe Vladitar with a boss as fuck design. He uses his newfound power to take everyone into this darkest themed arena and begins draining the power of everyone's Bakugan except Leonidas because of course he is unaffected as the arena is filled with Doom Dimension Force, the very same that created him. With the Battle Brawlers Bakugan using what little power they have to give, they help Leonidas get the strength to beat Vladitar by evolving into Omega Leonidas, and God, I love this design of Leonidas. I think I'll forever be a fan of his normal appearance, but Omega Leonidas looks just as cool. It's a final showdown to stop Vladitar's schemes, and fuck me talk about an obnoxious difficulty spike. Now, part of this is because we are in a darkest themed arena where I have a disadvantage, but fuck man, if it wasn't for how horrible bound battles are in this game, I actually would have made a clean comeback, but nope. Take my advice, have your attributes timebreaker ability card if you get into a bound battle. Trust me, it'll make your life so much easier, because fuck trying to grab a hold of this tiny attribute symbol that moves faster than your cat getting the zoomies at 2 in the goddamn morning. Alternatively, you can choose to start as a darkest player instead, and now it's even footing for this battle. Your choice. After a bit of a headache that was that chaotic 1v1 that no joke took me at least 3 tries to beat, Battle Axe Vladitar and Marek are stopped from causing destruction, but the ensuing battle between Leonidas and Vladitar ends up draining them so much that they end up heading to the afterlife? That's what I think is happening here at least. But the two Bakugan depart with us, telling Marek to quit whining like a bitch while at the same time offering to be his friend and challenging him to a battle at some time. We arrive back at the park where the journey began with that same sudden flash hitting us once again, greeted by Leonidas, who I guess didn't die as Vladitar had grown a bit of a soft side, lent his power to give Leonidas a second chance at life and reunited with us. And that actually wraps up the whole story, which honestly wasn't the worst thing I played, but you could tell me this was a potential idea for a multi-episode part in the first season. I would have believed you if that was the case. And to be honest, if I was going to play this game again for this review, it certainly wasn't for the story, but rather for the game itself, which... Shall we go ahead and talk about that now? Before we talk about it though, I just want to briefly mention the Battle Arena. It was a way for you to play the game against the AI at different difficulties, as well as battle against other people who have their own copy of the game. You can choose to play as your own character or other brawlers in the game once you have them unlocked. You'll have every character unlocked by the time you're done with the story though, so don't worry about that. Sadly, I was unable to get footage of local multiplayer fun because while I do own a 3DS as well, it currently doesn't read physical game cards anymore, and I also don't own a second copy of this game, so single player stuff is all I was able to get for this video. So in terms of the general setup, it's about the same as the original game, with a few differences to make it feel like you're not playing a carbon copy of the original, even though you still sorta are. You'll still need to form a team of 3 Bakugan of your choosing, along with a single gold, silver, and copper gate card, and a green, red, and blue ability card. I do like how in this game, even though you most likely won't do this for reasons I'll get into, you aren't forced to have Leonidas locked into your composition at all times, with the exception of the final battle in the story. Both players select one of the 3 gate cards in their deck and set them on the field. The one closest to the opponent will be yours. It'll also have this slightly glowing effect on the arena, showing you which cards are yours in case you get lost. During your turn, you can do one of 2 things. You can set another gate card as long as it's next to another gate card, or immediately roll a Bakugan onto the arena. Actually, make it 3 things. You can also tap this icon on the touchscreen to essentially scout your opponent's deck to see what Bakugan they have, as well as what cards they have left. Not that that's very helpful because card information is hidden until it's revealed, but you can at least predict what type of gate card has been set down. During the roll, you can control your Bakugan to send them on a grand adventure to collect G-Power boost, XP to level them up. There are also unique ability cards only available in the arena you can collect during your turn, and can be activated upon landing on a gate card. They can either increase or decrease the G-Power gains obtained by all Bakugan in the field, allow you to throw again if you made a mistake, or auto-win a battle. Don't get too crazy with the roaming, however, as tempting as that may be, you do have a limited amount of stamina. It's weird because I recall the console versions having a means to refill the stamina while roaming, but that is completely absent in this version for reasons I'm not too sure on. Like I said at the beginning of the video, your goal is to win 3 gate cards before your opponents. You win gate cards by one of 2 methods: get into a battle with another player's Bakugan on the same card you're on and win the battle, or by landing 2 of your own Bakugan onto the same card for a double stance. Battles work as such. You'll have the current G-Power, which will then have the additional G-Power added based on the attribute of your Bakugan from the gate card itself. After that, you'll be given a choice to activate an ability card once per battle. Ability cards come in a variety of flavors, like canceling the G-Power boost of your opponent, adding even more power to yours, or messing with your opponent in the middle of one of the many battle minigames. The 3 varieties of gate cards all have 2 different minigames each. Gold gate cards have the scratch or spin battles, which are the most brain dead as they are exactly how they sound. Silver gate cards have this not really a rhythm game battle where you tap the symbol when it reaches the center. This one can either be very consistent or not, as I swear there were multiple instances where I hit the symbol when it reached the center, only for that bitch to fade away and do nothing. There are also pop battles where you just tap as many attribute symbols as you can in the available time. This was quite fun, I enjoyed it. I remember younger me actually dreading silver gate card battles, but that honor I think should now go to the copper gate cards. Now trace battles were fine, I didn't really have an issue with these. You just follow the attribute symbols and makes a figure 8. It starts to get a little too fast for my liking, but it's doable. The bound battles, on the other hand, no. I already gave my reasons for why I don't like these during the story summary, but the battles in the end of the game are full of brawlers using copper gate cards with the bound battles, and I dread it each and every single time I see it. This game is much easier than I remember it being. The AI can either be the smartest thing on the planet, or dumb as a rock in battles even when they have the clear advantage, and there is no in between. It wasn't until I got to the Master Cup where I did start to feel a degree of challenge, and the final battle against Marduk is pretty rough, again mostly because of the attribute disadvantage that I had, but hey, I can be petty. It kinda sucks that Leonidas, our partner for the adventure, doesn't get his own gate card or ability card until the final tournament of the story, and when he evolves into Omega Leonidas, the cards don't automatically just upgrade to match his new form, which I will say adds to the difficulty of the final battle because Marduk here gets his Vladitar evolution cards, so why can't I have mine for Leonidas? And to go back to what I mentioned earlier, while you can't take Leonidas out of your composition, it's best that you don't do that because Leonidas is simply straight up overpowered. Aside from starting at level 3 so you can immediately access the attribute special shot with him, his G-Power and overall stats is insanely high right off the bat in comparison to all the Bakugan available for the first 2 to 3 tournaments. You can also level up your Bakugan via collecting XP from the arena during battles, or the easier method, spending money at the shop to instantly level them up. Every level up will increase a Bakugan's G-Power and also allows you to increase a single stat by 1 point, capping out at 5. Unless you plan on, for whatever reason, challenging other players, you can for the most part just focus on speed to not only make roaming the arena for items go by a bit faster, it can also make landing critical KOs a bit easier. Everything else though, I just ignore because 9 times out of 10, they simply don't really matter. And if you really want to deck out your team and such before a tournament, you can challenge other brawlers to a battle in the park to earn more money. And if you can win a battle flawlessly, the money reward is doubled, making the grind for money even easier. And trust me, with how powerful Leonidas is early on, you'll be racking that money very quickly. I didn't really need to grind though, I only did the park battles when they were needed for the story in order to progress. But if I want to get all the items in the game, I'll have to do those park battles, but I'm in no rush whatsoever for that. I can save that for a silly live stream playthrough. I do like fucking with you guys every once in a while. Alright, well this is the I think the part of the video where I'm not sure how to actually end it, because I didn't actually have the time to record a proper outro for the video. But I guess this would be a good excuse to say sorry for making y'all wait so long, because I wanted this video done before the end of May, and here I am at the end of July, at least at the time of me recording this part for the video. It is now the end of July, and oh boy, life has been quite challenging to say the least, but everything's kind of getting back together now. Everything's under control, and I'm ready to start getting back into the swing of things and start, working on more videos and other things on top of that. So you can tell this is not scripted in any capacity. I did not. I'm doing this all in one take, and I'm not going to do any editing aside from maybe some funny close-ups later. But yeah, other than that, I mean, like, what do I say? What do I even say? Like, whatever. Thank you all for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and see y'all next time, whatever that may be. I have a few games I want to take a look at coming soon, but I think I gotta start putting my focus on the next major project, and you guys may have got a slight, very subtle tease earlier in the video. Actually, if you go back, I'm sure you'll find it, but that's the next major project, but that won't be the next video. I have one, maybe two other videos I want to look at least currently. There might be more later down the road, but the next major project, I'm gonna go start working on that right away as soon as I'm done, putting this in the video and getting it uploaded and all that good shit. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care. Whew. The page I was looking at, by the way, for that shot, it's a blank page. I just flipped to a random page in this notebook that's like 90% empty. I'm pretty sure this is where I usually take all my notes, and there's barely anything in it. If I keep that in the video, I'm gonna keep that in the video.